The Yamaha is my third bike of choice. It was a blaster ride. The thing I would say that it lacked was in the cornering. And again, coming from my background, I love corners. I wasn't much of a jumper growing up, but as far as cornering came, I was a huge time corner. So as far as this bike goes, I would say that as far as cornering, it wasn't there. It did, what I noticed today coming into my corners, it would knife. I felt like as far as the turning radius, it was, I would compare it more towards the KX. But as far as going through ruts and maybe some of the corners that were a little bit longer, I would say I had a hard time trying to stay in it, kind of wanted to bounce out of those. The positives from it were coming through the straightaways and into the jumps, the power package was there. So you would come through the straightaways, you could get on it hard and it would pull. It just seems like it would keep pulling no matter what on the top end. And yeah, it just felt good in those areas. As I was hitting my jumps, I felt it carried the speed to be able to do whips on it. And coming down the downhills, as it was getting choppy, I felt super comfortable. I felt like it held its position coming down. But every time I'd come in with a lot of speed, again, coming into my corners, it'd want to tuck and knife pretty hard. A little bit could have been from the suspension. I did feel like the back was a little bit dead and the front was a little bit stiff. And so again, maybe that was, as I was trying to come out of my corners, I didn't get that lift as I would like coming out and helping me drive the bike coming out of it. It seemed like I had to, would have to get on the gas a little bit harder and keep push the bike to get it going. But again, once you got the bike going, it would keep climbing and it didn't stop. I would say as far as the braking on it, I would rate it a little bit better than some of the other bikes. It did have a good braking package on it, but all around, as far as my handling went, it didn't compare to my other two choices of liking.
So this was another tough decision. All of these bikes are great. I picked the Yamaha second, and it was really a close race between the Kawasaki and the Yamaha. I really like the positioning of where the foot pegs are and the handlebars. The motor is really smooth and rideable. It doesn't lack any power anywhere. It would be nice if it had a little more over rev on the very top, but the bike was stable. KYB suspension, really good. It was a little harsh on the front and some of the choppy hard pack bumps, but that's probably just some suspension adjustments. The bike drifts really well on the hard stuff. The front end was a little bit twitchy, but the motor's amazing. Just the way you fit on the bike. I mean, this thing ripped. The brakes on the YZ250, they're pretty good. The front brake I wish was a little better, but it's not bad, especially for the year of the bike. Maybe a bigger front rotor would be something I would do if this was my bike. I mean, these things are solid. I mean, the motor's been pretty much the same from 02 to 2022, so you have a solid platform there. It's kind of tough to beat it, so I think these bikes are durable and they hold up, and probably why I picked it number 2. Plus it looks good with the 22 on there,
I was going to start off saying by placing the Yamaha third. It's a decision that doesn't feel right. You don't think that the Yamaha would place third in this shootout, but for me it did, and here are the reasons why. One, it is the lightest bike of the bunch and feels the lightest on the track. And because of that, the motor for me feels super explosive. It was a lot harder hitting. So if you're more of an aggressive rider, I think this is going to suit your style. I like to be a little bit smoother. And this one definitely hit the hardest down low and in the mid, and the motor mid to top felt great, especially pulling up the hill in the back. It was super easy to come out of a corner and hit a jump right out of the corner. This thing had no problem in those types of situations. As far as the handling goes, it felt like the lightest bike out there. I didn't feel planted on it as well as I did on the other bikes. It turned well in the flat corners. The brakes worked pretty good as well. They were probably comparable with the Cowie in my opinion, right behind the Honda. Maybe I could have went a little bit softer on the front end. I felt like the front end was just a little bit too active for me. I probably could have slowed down the rebound, but just felt like it was just coming back on me too fast to make me feel comfortable in the corners consistently. In prior situations where I've ridden this bike, I had that feeling where it was one of those bikes that just does everything well. I don't think it really does anything spectacular, but it gets the job done. I think this is a great platform to start on. With a couple little tweaks, you can really make this thing a screamer. Like I said, the motor definitely caters to the faster rider, and if we kind of slowed down the front end a little bit, and maybe if it wasn't so jittery, I think I could have gotten this bike to handle a little bit better, and ultimately that's why I chose it third place.
For more information on how the other 3 Japanese models compared to the YZ250, head over to the channel for the full Shootout video along with the complete bike build series. As always guys, I appreciate you watching. Ride hard, be safe. We'll see you in the next video. Peace!